video is a follow-up to the previous video on importing a height map into Unreal Engine 4. This video will focus on importing the correct textures into a landscape materials folder, creating a landscape material, setting up that material to distribute across our landscape, as we can see here. The first step would be to, in our content folder, is to create a new folder for our landscape materials. So we'll right click and then press new folder, and we will call this landscape materials. So we'll double click this to open this up, and we can drag our files in here, or we can import those. So the first thing I'm going to do is import our Splat map we created in World Machine. So I can choose import, and I can go to my desktop where I have my file saved, and our Splat map should be this tutorial Splat red, green, blue file. So I have this this texture in here, and I'm also going to go into some of the starter content and grab some textures. You can choose your own with normal maps if you choose, but we're just going to use what's provided because they work pretty well. So we'll double click in here and we'll wait for them to load, and I'm going to use at least 3 because we're going to have 3 separate textures that we're going to apply. So I'm going to have one for grass, so I'm going to choose this ground grass, and the D is for diffuse. We're also going to choose the one beside of it, which is the normal map. So I'm going to just hold control and select both of those. Then I'm going to choose this ground gravel, holding control, and the normal map for that as well. And then I'm going to scroll here and I'm going to pick up this rock basalt, the diffuse, and also the normal map for that. So I have these 6 texture files, and the easiest way to do is I'm going to move them or just copy them over. So I'm just going to drag this over to the material, landscape material, and drop that on there and just hit copy here. So it should tell me that those have been copied, and now they're all in here. So the next step is we have our textures ready, and these are what is going to be applied to our landscape. So we're going to right click and create a material for them. So we click material, we're going to call this our landscape material, and it will be, the material will be show up as this little round circle or sphere. So we're going to double click that, and it will pull up in our material editor, and this is our output node where all of our information will be plugged in to give us our final material. So to get these textures in here, I'm just going to undock this and just kind of place it over here, and I'm going to using my Splat map, I'm going to drag this into here, and it will show up here. And anywhere where I have red, I'm going to use this rock texture. Anywhere where I have green, I'm going to use the grass, and anywhere I have blue, I'm going to use the gravel. So I'm going to take the rock diffuse, and I'm going to drag it in up here. Then I'm going to take the grass and drag it in. Just kind of position them this way. Drag this down, and then finally take this gravel and drag it in. And you'll see why we put these in this order in a few minutes. So we're just kind of line these up, and then we're going to take the normal maps in the same order. So we'll take the normal map for the rock, then the normal map for the grass, and the normal map for the gravel. I can put that there. Then we can dock this back here, and we can have an easier view. So we have our gravel, grass, and sand. We have our splatting map in the middle, and we have our normal maps, and that is not a normal map. Let's take that normal map here. There we go. Okay, our next step is we're going to have to use some landscape coordinates. So we're going to go in the palette right here, and we're going to type in landscape. As we come up, we'll get our landscape options. So we're going to choose the landscape layer coordinates. So we just click and drag one of these nodes out here, and we're going to drag another one down next to our splatting map. So we're going to use this one here to control the scale of our splat map, and we're going to plug it into the UV. And right here is an important part is under mapping scale. Our terrain is 505 by 505, as well as our splat map as the resolution. So we're going to change this setting to 505. So whatever resolution our map is what we should pick for this mapping scale, because it's going to govern and distribute our textures across the entire terrain. And for our landscape coordinates here, we're going to choose about 20. And this will govern how detailed the texture is. The lower the number, the more detailed it is, especially if you're close up. If you're going to be far away, you can make that scale a little bit larger. So we're just going to take this input or output and plug it into the UV for these three textures. And we can drag this down and plug this into these three. And kind of position it right there. Okay, so we have all of our coordinates hooked up. Now we're going to choose a landscape layer blend and drag this out. This is how we're going to blend our textures together, and how we're going to tell Unreal how to do that. So it comes up with nothing in it. So we're going to choose for these three layers, we're going to, under material expression, we're going to click this 3 times to give us 3 elements. 1, 2, 3, and we'll get these layers. So we're going to choose in the layer name, the top one, we're going to call it rock for our rock layer. And it will change the name right here for us. And we're going to choose height blend, and will give us a height option. And our preview weight needs to be 0.5, or it seemingly will not work. For our second one, our second layer is going to be our grass. And we're going to choose height blend and 0.5. And our bottom one is going to be our dirt or sand. Height blend 0.5. Okay, now we're going to need this same node for the top and the bottom, so we'll just make a copy with Control C and then Control V to paste it and just drag it down here. And now we'll start to plug this in.